Yeah, so it was a very busy period of time for us, extremely busy month. Our goal going into this transfer window was to make sure we got better immediately right now so that we can make a legitimate push to make the playoffs the last 11 games of the season. And then also position ourselves to be better next season as well. And we were able to accomplish that with the four moves that we made during this window. So with that, any questions?
Yeah, start with Frank here.
Good, Curt. I'm sure you guys didn't want to wait until this late in the season to make these additions, but take us through how these transfers came about. And is there an ETA for Langoni and Yusuf?
Yeah. So every transfer window we want to get better. Often the summer window can be a robust one, and a window where you can really add a lot of players because of other, the European window, for example. That's their main transfer window. So for us, we wanted to be active. Whenever you put a new coach in place, it's a period of time that you need probably 3 windows to really kind of make the team the coaches. So this was our second window. We wanted to make sure it was impactful. We made a record club signing, with Langoni. He's on a flight right now, so he'll be in very shortly. He's going to need to get, physical work and all that kind of stuff done when he gets here, and then he'll be probably training by the end of the week and be training all of next week, preparing for Montreal. In the case of Alassane Youssef, we've applied for his P1. We think that will get approved in the next couple of days, so we'll get him up here as quick as we possibly can and incorporate him into the team whenever we can.
Frank,
And that's one follow-up too. We're seeing some positives with this team, but this team's still in last place. So what's the expectations for the rest of the season?
Our expectation is to do everything we can to try to make the playoffs. We are sitting in last place, but we're 5 points out of playoff contention. We have 2 games in hand. We have a team that's getting healthier, which is, and a more robust team because we just added players. So our goal is to make the playoffs. It's 11 games left, 7 of which are on the road, 4 at home. So it's not going to be an easy challenge. But our guys get better every single day. Caleb has got everybody dialed in, and we're gonna make a push, and that's why we were bold in this window.
Seth?
One thing that was mentioned earlier by Caleb is that when you guys came in, you were pretty up against the cap. Can you talk about being up against the cap and having to make some of these moves, especially with guys like DeJuan Jones and Henry Kessler, to open up things?
Yeah, you're always up against the cap. It's a very complicated league, and it's very difficult for the outsiders looking in to see basically what happens. But with player sales and without player sales, you can be more robust, and you can end up, having more room on your cap. I think the biggest thing for us is that, we sold Petrovic, right? But when we sold Petrovic, there was no mechanism within for us, because we had 3 DPs, to be able to add real players. So with the league change of adding the U22 Initiative, that was huge for us. So we were able to add Langoni, a game changer type player. We spent a lot of money on the player. He fits Caleb's model. So that in itself helps us, and it helps us in the next window as well. But all those things factored in to, the moves with Henry Kessler and DeJuan. We got players, but we also got money. So that gives us flexibility. And our goal is to continually get better. Sometimes you have to make moves that, that it's never fun to move players that you care about. I'm sure the fans felt it, and we felt it probably more because we work with them every day. But it's all part of the business. In the case of DeJuan, he's a lovable guy, and we already miss him. He's an athletic player. He's got that incredible smile. But we had the emergence of Peyton, who's a really talented young player, and then we were able to get a left-footed player with Will Sands that, between the two of them, puts us in a really good position in Caleb's model. When Caleb's model, he likes his outside backs getting forward, but he likes them to be, left-footed guys on the left side, right-footed guys on the right side, and a premium keeping the ball. So those were all parts of the things that we thought about as we made those moves.
Good.
And it looks like you guys strengthened two positions here that are of need.
Yeah.
One position that's been talked about a lot this year is the striker position, having two players, a lot of injuries there. Was that something that you tried to strengthen? There's still time in the window too?
For us, we want to get better every single window. We're gonna do our best to add players every window. We added Luca Langoni, an attacker. We're going to continually be looking for attackers. The positive for us collectively, if you look at our team, Veroni scored 6 games, 6 goals. Bobby Wood has 2 goals in his last 2 games, which is great because that's kind of the form he had last year, and he was a little bit injury riddled in the beginning of the season, but that has changed. Carlos comes back into the team. Barrero comes back into the team. You add Langoni. You have Eshmir, you have Ema, you have Nacho, you have Panayetu, who am I missing? Tommy Mack. I mean, we have all these really talented players now, and now we're robust. So we feel that that's going to enable us to create more chances and score more goals. Then you add another midfielder that Caleb talks about being a little bit more vertical, and that makes us more dynamic as well. So when you just incorporate all those, we now will be more robust, and the goal and the feeling we have is that we'll be able to score more goals and to win more games and to do whatever we can to make a push into the playoffs.
Let's go to Nick, and then we can circle back around to you.
Yeah, so kind of like you mentioned, we've got club records for both a single signing and a single window. Just what does that say about the intent and the commitment to investment for future windows, what people can expect?
I mean, first of all, we want to thank the Crafts because they're the ones writing the checks, and they are awesome owners. They just get it. They've built championship organizations, so they know what it takes. So we're going to look to get better each window, and as we move through this, my job is to now start looking towards the next window. The coaching staff's job is to do whatever they can to help our team make the playoffs. We'll be looking to add more players. We'll have another U22 position available that we can look to add a player there, and we'll assess how this looks. Caleb and I are 100% on the same team. We're aligned. We work together. We see things similarly, and we'll make the smartest decisions we possibly can to get ourselves better also in the January transfer window.
Okay. Take a few more questions in the room, and then a reminder for anyone on the Zoom, please throw your hand up if you have something. Nick, you had another?
Yeah, just a quick follow-up. From a front office perspective, David Cameron coming in before this window too, how big of an impact did he play in this window, and what do you expect for him going forward?
He was outstanding, but we also we have a great network of scouting. Remy Roy's been doing it for a long time as well. Chris Tierney has a lot of experience. Caleb is outstanding at this. I've quite frankly never been around a coach that's that detail-oriented, knows exactly what he wants. A lot of times there can be a lot of times coaches aren't as clear with exactly what they want, and they can, with Caleb, he knows what he wants. So that makes it easier for us because, it's the profile is very clear. So the game model is very clear. We feel really good about the knowledge that we have in the building, and we're just going to continually make it better. It's a big part of this business is adding talent, and we talk about being robust, and the only way to be robust is to have a cap that's well managed, and have an abundance of players and have a robust roster. So we're getting close to that, and we want to continually get there, and that's just that takes a little time.
Can you talk a little bit about, you had that run where you had 5 out of 6, but
Yes.
at the beginning of the year it was 2-10-1. Can you talk about reflecting on that moment and the relationship you had with Caleb and the Crafts during this whole process of?
I'm steadfast. Caleb is a championship caliber coach. He's won championships at 2 clubs, and he's going to win a championship here. It's that simple. I'm unwavering in my belief in our project. Crafts are the same way, and so is Brian, our owner. So it's really important. It's a profession where there's a lot of ups and downs, and if you can just stay even keeled throughout the difficult times, there'll be more of those, winning 5 or 6 games, and hopefully that's how we can start this next stretch. But we believe in what we're doing now. We all know that the Champions League is a tough challenge, especially when you have a brand new coach who's trying to implement a way of playing. And I think it took a little time for Caleb's way to start coming through the team. But if you watch our training sessions, the environment that Caleb and his staff has created for our team is outstanding. So it's just a matter of making sure that each day we get better. We obviously hit a run of a little bit of bad luck with injuries, and hopefully that in the future won't happen. But as the team gets healthy, the important thing is just stay the course. And Caleb's a great coach, and we just have to continually get better, continually add better players, and just get a little better each day. And as you do that, all of a sudden you have something to really be proud of. And it's let's do whatever we possibly can to end this season on a positive note, because it's been difficult. There's no two ways about it. It's been a challenging year from a lot of aspects, but in those challenging times you find out what you're made of, and you get stronger. So we're real confident as we go into the last stretch of these 11 games.
Can you talk a little bit about the project? Because I know Caleb's talked about having a process when you have signings, that you go through a list of things. What are some things that you guys have implemented as you tried to build this vision?
I think the biggest thing is just alignment. You want to you just want to make sure that when you're signing somebody, that it's somebody that the coaching staff believes in and that's going to be successful, and there's conviction. So I'm not going to get into a whole lot of detail with our process, but it's a good one. We're looking forward to this.
Okay. We're going to jump over to the Zoom for a couple questions. We're going to go to Hayden Bird with Boston.com. Hayden, you're unmuted now.
Hey, Curt, just 2 questions. The first one, and apologies if you've already kind of addressed this, but do you anticipate the possibility of any additional moves before the deadline tonight? And the second one, just with the signing of Langoni, you now have Langoni, Barrero, and Chancalay, I guess, ideally when they're all healthy, who are potentially 3 guys competing for maybe 2 spots. I don't know if you feel differently about that, but just in general, how do you approach, adding talented players while trying to, I guess, balance the squad?
So we think we're done. There's, it's, we still have time, obviously, where there could be a move, but the reality is we feel very confident, very good about this window. So I think it's unlikely there'll be any more moves prior to the end of today. Just to go back to exactly what you're saying, that you need to have a robust roster, and you need to have some flexibility. Chancalay can play as a forward, Langone can play as a forward, and actually so can Barrero. So, and then also you have Eshmir, who's been outstanding as well this year as a young player for us. So that just gives us flexibility. And unfortunately, in the case of Chancalay, he's going to be out for quite a while. So, and then when guys are out for a period of time, it takes time for them to find their form. So, we feel like the more talented assets you have, the better off you're going to be. So, we're going to utilize the mechanisms of the league, the U22s, in particular, and obviously our homegrown system, to make sure that we can be as robust as we possibly can and have as many options for Caleb and his staff to put out a team that's exciting and a team that can win games.
I don't see any other hands on the Zoom. Can we? Any other questions here in the room before we wrap up? Frank or Seth or Nick?
Just, Curt, I think that U22 initiative was talked about, in the preseason. How much would that have maybe changed?
It would have changed a ton. We had players that we were targeting. We thought that there was going to be that change. It was frustrating. We had this huge player sale. We obviously lost an incredible player in Petrovic, in a situation where you have to sell the player. But then, you have these funds, and you want to reinvest in the team, but you don't have mechanisms to do so. So that would have definitely meant that we would have utilized the U22 initiative in January. But that it is what it is, So we're we just continually want to get better. We felt like we made some good moves in the last window. We made some good moves in this one, and we're gonna do whatever we can to make the playoffs and end this season strong. And then we're gonna go into the next window, and as Caleb and I always say, we're gonna look to add players each window, and that's if we can do that continually, that's how you end up having a winning franchise.
How would you reflect on this job that you've taken on, being the sporting director? How has it been? What are challenges you encountered in this new role?
It's it's a very aligned with our head coach, and believe 100% in our project, and I feel good about where we are with the moves that we made in this window to end the season on a positive note, so we can get into the playoffs and make a run.